If you ask most people what they want in life, they'll tell you happiness, family, peace, meaningful connections, great memories, and so on and so forth. But strangely enough, I've noticed there's a tremendous gap between what we want and what we do that often goes against our desires. And I'm not talking about our obligations. Of course, there are things that we have to do, like providing for our family, paying the bills, and etc. I'm talking about our choices, the voluntary choices that we make every single day. I've met many people with this problem and also had a similar challenge in my life. Like once I asked one of my students, what is important in your life? And he said, family and peace. But I know that he's working 14-hour days and is always stressed and doesn't have time to spend with his family. And the interesting thing is that he has more than enough, like he's a millionaire. And then I started asking myself, well, did he lose the connection with the reality? Recently, another student got a PhD in biology, and when I discovered that, I said, well, congratulations, you did it. So what's next for you? And then he said, Mike, you know what? I discovered that I don't like biology. And then I was thinking, well, this guy just spent 15 years of his life studying something that he doesn't like. Well, he's from China, and I know that their academic performance is highly valued and often people follow their parents' advice, but this kind of thing can happen anywhere and anytime. I could continue with many examples where people know what they want, or at least know what they don't want, but still act counterintuitively. I try to understand this, and I realize that there are many reasons for this: bad habits, lack of motivation, lack of direction, and discipline. But there is something more. In psychology, we call it future self overestimation. It is basically the tendency to believe that your future self will be far more motivated, capable, or more disciplined than you are right now. It is when we think somehow in the future things are going to change, that we're going to be able to spend more time with our family, exercise more, enjoy life more, and that future self will be able to handle everything. The problem is that people often don't start making the necessary changes and they keep postponing endlessly. This happens because we overestimate how much our future self will change, forgetting that change requires consistent action, not just time. It is simply a mental trap that delays progress, because it makes us rely on a version of ourselves that doesn't exist yet. To me, it seems like a defense mechanism. Since clearly there's a big gap between what we want and what we are doing, it creates a cognitive dissonance, and it's our brain's way of easing it out, some sort of hope that in the future, your future self will be able to do something about all this. I noticed that in me as well. There was a time when I was working 14-hour days, sleeping less than 5 hours, no time with friends, no quality time with family, doing nothing except work. And obviously I burnt out because I got to a level where I could not even imagine a different future. And sometimes believing that my future self, who is more virtuous, more generous, and that is able to work smart, not only hard, will solve this, gave me some sort of hope. Everything changed when I realized, if not now, if I don't take the decision to sleep well, to have more free time now, it will never happen. And it happened when I finally understood how fast the time was passing. I questioned myself, do you like the way you feel? And trust me, even if you could give me the entire world, that would not solve the problem. I was addicted to work. I was a simple workaholic, and it led to burnout and mild depression. I was saying to myself, oh, I'm sacrificing my present now for a better future. But one day, I simply felt that that great future might never come if I overwork myself to an extent where I feel complete apathy. So I took the decision. I simply decided to start my work at 6 a.m. instead of 5 a.m. That 1 hour made all the difference. It made me feel in control. So another reason why there's a gap between what we want and what we do is because of this. Because we're afraid to change things. Because we flow by inertia. I want to know how many of you live like that, thinking that there will be a better time in the future for everything. Oh, in the future I'll be more generous. Oh, in the future I'll travel more. I'll change my priorities. An interesting tendency, isn't it? So no wonder your brain starts sabotaging you when years go by and you realize tomorrow never came. The future you were waiting for so long is in the past. So how to recognize whether or not you're in this trap? Well, I have my own strategy, and here is how it works with me. If I feel the need to fast forward to an end result, it is one of the indicators that I'm not enjoying the process enough. When I become obsessed with the future, with the end result, it means that I've neglected the present too much. There was a time when I wished someone could magically fast forward my life like in the movie Click, where the main character clicks a remote and life just moves on fast. At that time, when someone asked me when I was 20, when I was working very hard, doing nothing meaningful, do you want to fast forward your life to 25? When you're a millionaire, successful, and have more free time? I would have said yes. So if your answer to this question is also yes, you need to seriously reconsider the way you're living your life right now. If someone gave me this kind of opportunity at the age of 23 and said, well, let's just fast forward the process and you would end up at the age of 30 and you're successful, I would refuse. I would refuse because for me, those years, and most importantly, the experiences and the life that I could have within those years are more valuable than anything else. These days I'm reading Seneca's letters to his student Lucilius, and in his first letter, Seneca talks about exactly this, our tendency to waste our time and to live as if we are immortal. And then we're surprised, oh, our life passed so quickly. Well, because we never really lived it. Like Seneca said, hold every hour in your grasp. Lay hold of today's task, and you will not need to depend so much upon tomorrow's. While we are postponing, life speeds by. This reminds me of a phenomenon what psychologists and philosophers call the retrospective time paradox. In the moment when we're doing something new, exciting, or deeply meaningful, time seems to rush. It flies by. But when we look back on it, it feels rich and full. One weekend trip, one intense project, or one deep conversation can feel like it lasted forever in memory, even if it passed quickly in real life. On the other hand, when we live in routine, repeating the same habits, days blend into one another. Time feels slow while we're living it, but in retrospect, it collapses. Months, even years, feel like they disappeared. So this is the time paradox, when meaningful moments feel short while happening, but long in memory, and meaningless moments feel long while happening, but short in memory. After studying this subject and learning more about myself, I've changed my attitude towards life. I'm a super goal-oriented person, a future-oriented person if I can say so. But at the same time, I don't want to regret that I never really did the things that I wanted, that I just kept postponing things and life just flew by. Because even if I'm rich, a billionaire, I can never relive or buy another life. In the future, I don't want to realize that I was so afraid of the future that I never really lived. So I will leave you with a quote that I wrote when I was 14. If you're afraid that you're going to die tomorrow, you will not even live today. Thanks for watching.